Well, that moves us into our second segment of the day. We got a reporter here asking, hey, based on this assessment from the U.S. Department of Energy, should this be something that's released to the American public? And here's John Kirby's response.
Mr. Kirby, on the Energy Department's assessment, should the evidence that the department is basing this assessment on be shared with the American people?
As I said, if we have something that we believe can be reported to the Congress and to the American people that we're confident in, we will absolutely do that.
You said that right now there is not a...
Does anybody really believe that? I mean, honestly, if this is going from the beginning of the Biden administration, we're going on 2 years now, and this is like really the first that we're actually hearing about any sort of assessment being done that's actually given us some sort of intelligence of what really took place. I mean, we've gone almost, 2.5 weeks now since we've shot down about 4 craft and objects out of the sky, and we still don't have any intelligence on that. I mean, they released photos of the Chinese spy balloon, but they only did that because everybody else had photos of it as well, because everybody's like, holy crap, what is that in the sky? Well, it's Chinese spying on you. Make sure you give them a nice peace sign or the middle finger because they're taking photos of you, or at least gathering some intelligence from everywhere around the United States. But it's just amazing here that they actually expect us to give us, they expect us to actually believe them that they're going to give us answers regarding this whole thing. It's a bunch of hubbub. If we do, I would be baffled and shocked, but this is the Biden administration we're talking about. And remember, it's also China we're talking about. And also remember, the Bidens are in bed with the Chinese. So I don't expect to hear anything in the next 2 years.
Consensus. Will there ever be a definitive answer from the Biden administration on the origins of COVID-19, and how much of that is dependent on cooperation from China?
We really do want to know what happened here because the president wants to make sure that we're postured to prevent any future pandemics.
How are you going to prevent it? Honestly, if another government, the Chinese government, is going to sit there and do gain-of-function research and produce these kind of viruses, what are you going to do about it, man? Honestly, what are you going to do, sanctions? Why are sanctions not being done already? It's been 2 years. We all know it came from China. Screw where it came from. Why are they not being penalized? What's going on? Where's the UN about this, right? We always, the UN this, UN that. Where is the globe on this? Honestly, where are they? Can somebody let me know? Because I haven't seen any penalties on China for this at all. You know it came from China. Screw where it specifically came from. Yes, I would like to know, and I do believe it was from a lab in Wuhan, but it's just amazing to me the president wants to get the bottom line, and we'll definitely tell you the truth about all this. Yeah. I really believe our government.
Or if not, prevent them to be able to get farther along ahead of them. So we're working very hard to understand this as best we can. Again, there's just no consensus across the government. The work continues, and I'm not going to get ahead of conclusions that haven't been arrived at yet.
Just one last quick follow-up. What agency is taking the lead on this?
This is a whole of government effort, and clearly here at the National Security Council, I mean, we're running the interagency process on this, but it's a whole of government effort.
It's a whole of government effort. So basically, you got a spider web. So we're never going to get a consensus. One department's going to say this, the other department's going to say this, and this is what they do. This is how they cover up the story, right? This is how they protect the Chinese government. This is how the Biden administration sits there and rubs the shoulders of Xi and the CCP and all those other things. So we'll never get to the bottom line of this because everybody has their foot in it, their hand dipped in it. Who the heck knows what's going on? And I would also like to point out, this really confused the reporters in the room. And what you're going to see later through the next few clips here is reporters just trying to get more of a consensus and understanding of what they actually mean if this is a whole government effort and really get more details on this. You'll see that coming up. Well, moving into our third story of the day, we have more information coming out regarding this, and we got a follow-up from another reporter asking, hey, there's a lab leak theory taking place from the intelligence community, and they've been gathering this intelligence since Joe Biden's been in office, but we got the same message back in 2021 that there wasn't a consensus if it was from the Wuhan lab leak either. So what's going on? Should we be worried? Should stuff be going on? Let's go ahead and check it out.
To follow on the lab leak theory, back in October 2021, it was also the case that there was no consensus from the intelligence community, where COVID came from. Without revealing sensitive information, has the IC gathered new information, new intelligence since then that might have led DOE to draw a different conclusion?
We, again, without confirming the press reporting on the Department of Energy's work here, and the context for them is that they run the national labs, and the president wanted the national labs involved here. Again, a whole of government effort. The work is still ongoing. There hasn't been a final conclusion arrived at here, and not everyone in the intelligence community or across the government necessarily has come to a consensus view here on how it started. But I want to go back to what I said before, and that's that the president believes it's important to know so that we can better prevent future pandemics. And obviously, regardless of what the source is, it's important for people to know that scientific research can still occur, needs to occur, in a safe and secure manner.
And on Friday, the president was asked if he was worried that China will side with Russia in the war, and he said that there is no evidence of that so far. So does President Biden believe China is neutral in the conflict?
I can't really improve upon how the president characterized it. We have not seen China go all in with respect to supporting Russia.
So it takes them going all in for, is that the bar for partnering?
They have not gone all in supporting Russia. They abstained from the vote in the UN. While they have not condemned the invasion that Mr. Putin perpetrated now on the Ukrainian people, nor have they made a decision to provide lethal military assistance to Ukraine. And as the president said, he doesn't believe it's in China's interest to do that they should not want to do that, to go in on the side of Russia. Now, look, the other thing is a couple things. Every country has to make its own decisions here. And we have been exceedingly clear that we want to see China be on the right side here, which is not support Mr. Putin in any way, condemn this invasion like so much of the rest of the world has, and participate in the price cap on oil revenue so that Mr. Putin can't profiteer it, and to enforce sanctions. Now, they haven't chosen to do all those things. We obviously believe that they've got decisions that they have to make. We want them to make the right ones.
Sorry.
So she's just going to follow up with that, but you kind of hear the messaging from the Biden administration on how this is all developing and coming out, and not giving credence to the idea that it could even have been started in China whatsoever, or the fact that it could be a Wuhan lab leak. It's so crazy how this whole administration has been under wraps and kind of in the dark on literally everything. And what I find interesting is that it kind of makes sense on this administration and how they're functioning, because thinking about it, going back to the campaign, Biden literally just was in a basement the entire campaign, the entire presidential run. He didn't go out and do the same things that Trump did. He was quiet. He was tight-lipped. Nobody knew what the heck was going on. Nobody knew if the guy was deranged or mentally ill or anything back then. Of course, now we do after seeing him. You can only keep the guy sheltered so much as president. But it's interesting because his administration is ran in the exact same way. We never get any answers. We never really know what's going on. It's always, well, you got to talk to this department. Oh, well, the U.S. Department of Energy did their assessment, but, yeah, sure, maybe they said that it came from Wuhan lab leak, but we don't have a consensus through all departments, as if that's ever going to really happen. I mean, come on, that is silly. Usually have one agency that's kind of heading the whole thing, that sits there and runs the investigation, and they come to a consensus of, hey, this is what took place, this is what didn't take place, and this is what we have. But when you start spreading it out and have multiple hands in the pot, nobody's ever going to really necessarily come to an agreement. They're all going to have their own opinions, especially when you're dealing with a foreign, I guess you could theoretically say, actual enemy. And so that's never going to happen. But again, it's the whole idea of let's keep everything tight-lipped, under wraps. We're not actually going to get any information from anybody, so the American people are constantly in the dark on everything that we're doing, which should worry everybody. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.